Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 7 of the No BS Homebuyers live series. In the past, we have talked about credit, we have talked about readiness, and we've already built your support squad. But none of that really matters until we understand one core thing, and that is, where is your money actually going? Because your money is going to be very important when buying a house. So we got to look at where it's actually going and how we can position ourselves to be better ready for when we are ready to buy a house. So a lot of people say, I just can't afford to buy. But when we actually sit down and look at their numbers, what we usually find is it isn't a lack of income, it's a lack of visibility and clarity on where their money is actually going and how they can save it so they can buy. So home ownership typically doesn't require a huge dramatic life overhaul. If it did, I think a lot less people would be buying a house. It just really requires some intentional redirection and understanding and clarity of our money and where we're spending our money. Because if you can't see the money, you can't redirect it and you can't be intentional with it. So this step is all about understanding where our money is going and what we can do about it. So let's talk about some of the big money leaks that I see pretty commonly. One of them is flexible spending. This is a silent category, and honestly, this is probably the one that has the biggest impact on people and has the biggest ability to be impacted as well. So by changing your flexible spending, you can really readjust it and realign it to your goals of buying a house. So this is things like coffee at the coffee shop, your Amazon purchases, eating out, Target runs where you plan to buy one thing and then you end up buying like 7 things. It's all these individual small little expenses, but they add up collectively and are quite powerful, especially on a monthly basis. And the reason I think these are such a big impact is because they're actually pretty easy to change once you recognize that they're happening. But they're really easy to not recognize that they're happening at all because it's just such small little incremental things, but they really truly add up. I know when we have done budgeting, looking back on things, I'm like, wow, I really kind of let it go on this category. And it's actually probably a couple of different categories, but it's really easy to lose track of these because they're so small and you just think, oh, it's no big deal. Well, when you do it 15 times a month, it adds up to a big deal. So that is probably the biggest money leak that I've seen, but also the easiest to fix. Another one would be lifestyle creep. So in a situation, let's say you got a raise and you make more money every month and your lifestyle also got a raise, whether or not you noticed it. And there's no shame in this. It happens to almost everyone, especially when you're talking like big raises or like big career jumps. It kind of can become a game of keeping up with the Joneses, whether or not you recognize it. Like, hey, everyone in this department has a brand new truck. I guess I'm supposed to get a brand new truck. It's a really easy thing to fall into. But the easiest way to tell if you're having some lifestyle creep is if your income has increased, but your savings hasn't. That's data that can kind of tell you like, hey, I'm still spending more and I'm not saving more. So that's a really easy way to tell if your lifestyle is creeping up with your income. And probably the number 2 thing that I see with money. Number 3 would be debt drag. So this is like minimum payments on different debts, whether that's credit cards or, you've got like a car payment here and then you've got a camper payment here, like all these little minimum payments. They don't feel very dramatic, but if you can eliminate 1 or 2 of them, you can be adding a lot to your monthly income. Like $400, $600 a month in minimums can reduce your ultimate buying power when you're going to qualify for a loan, and that can actually reduce your buying power by tens of thousands of dollars. So if you can get one of these minimum payments paid off, again, I would start with a high interest rate credit card and then work your way down based off of interest rate. But trying to kind of reduce those will help you be able to qualify for more when you are buying. And also, it'll just help reduce some of your monthly expenses. Um, Debt typically isn't like a balance issue, it's a monthly obligation issue. So if you can eliminate that monthly obligation, that is fantastic. So I would say those are the top three, like the flexible spendings, the oh my gosh, I'm already forgetting flexible spending, your lifestyle creep, and then also your debt drag. So those three are the top three I would focus on figuring out where your money is going. Um, and then I just want to iterate that the goal of this week is not to cut out all of your joy and say, hey, you could never have a Starbucks coffee ever again. Or say, hey, you have to eat beans and rice. That's all you can eat if you want to save money to buy a house. That's not at all what I'm saying. The goal is just to stop spending money without intention, um, and to create some breathing room and let you have control. Because I think when we're spending money, it's really easy to just kind of spend it, but we have goals and we have things that we truly value. And if your money isn't going towards the things you truly value, you're probably letting money go. And so, really focusing on what you want to be spending on, why you want to be spending on it, and how the savings can then help you achieve your other goals, like maybe buying a house. It really just helps us reframe our mind around the money. And again, it's not about crazy frugality. It's just about being very intentional about where our money's going and understanding and looking at that. So we want to just create some more breathing room. So when you do end up getting a mortgage, you're not in a panic about how you're going to pay that mortgage payment. You're not living paycheck to paycheck. And you're not in a situation where if you have a surprise expense that you're going to just, it's going to ruin everything and you're going to be in a bad situation. We want some extra breathing room so you have that comfort, because I will tell you, Murphy's Law always holds true when you buy a house. Something that can go wrong will go wrong. And you definitely want to have a little bit of a buffer, and some breathing room so that way you're not in a financially detrimental position. And then control is just about deciding where your money goes, what you're actually spending it on, and why you're spending it on that. And does that make you feel good? Does that help you live a better life? So we just want to have the control so we can stop wondering where our money is going, because it always seems to disappear, and start planning where we want to put that. And then also, kind of in relation to money and buying a house, when a lender is pre-qualifying you, you're probably going to get qualified for more than you're actually comfortable spending. So by having a handle on where your money's going every month, you'll actually know what you're truly comfortable like spending monthly, which then translate into what you spend overall on the house. Just because you qualify for a $3,000 mortgage doesn't mean you're going to be comfortable at a $3,000 a month mortgage. Maybe you're more comfortable at a $2,000 a month mortgage and having that extra buffer every month. So it's the real win of understanding where your money is going is knowing your comfort, knowing you have some buffers, and just being confident in all things money. So one thing I think a lot of people struggle with and are like, I'm not going to be able to buy a house until I make more money. Actually, in most cases, people don't need more money in order to buy. They just need to be able to shift like $300 to $500 a month into intentional, whether that's savings or intentional spending. I mean, that shift alone, that could be paying off a car payment, or that could be looking at your flexible spending and, cutting out the things that don't bring you joy. But that shift alone can help you significantly with your qualification. If you can knock off $300 to $500 off your debt to income, that can really help you accelerate how much you can buy. It can also reduce your down payment timeline, how much you need to save. I mean, if you could save $500 a month for a whole year, that's $6,000. And I've seen people buy houses with a lot less than $6,000 down. Um, it also can just help your stress level, just giving you that ability to have some extra income every month to put towards, whether that's savings. I recommend a high yield savings account, um, or just building up um, some extra space or spending it on intentional things that you care about. And that'll give you confidence later too when buying a house. So, money and control over money and understanding is very powerful. So, let's talk about how to actually figure out where your money is going. There's a lot of tools that you can use, some very complicated and some very simple. Uh, Different people will need different kind of tools. So you kind of have to look at how you function and operate to decide what tool is best for you. But I'm going to go through a couple of them so you have options. One of them that actually my husband and I just started is called Monarch Money. We used to use Mint, mint.com. I believe Monarch actually bought them out, but we didn't switch over at the time. I don't really know why, because we really liked Mint, but we just recently did it, went to Monarch. And so you can sync your accounts automatically. So we've got all of our debit cards, our credit cards, our loans, everything is in Monarch. So we can see it together. It's a nice, clean visual dashboard. It's really great for couples too if there's multiple people, because you guys can each have your own like login, and you can separate out like, hey, this is my account versus their account, but you can see it all together. So it's really nice for couples. You can show trends easily, and it's great if you are an automation person and aren't going to do manual entering. So I'd highly recommend checking out Monarch Money. They do charge, I think it's $99 a year, but if you use the code POCKETS, POCKETS, you get 50% off. I learned about that through Bigger Pockets Money. So that's their code actually. But that can help you save money on tracking your money. Another option would be You Need a Budget, or YNAB. It's zero-based budgeting, so every dollar has a purpose and a job. I would say it's probably better on the habit building, goal setting side of things, but I think Monarch also has that within it. I have not ever used You Need a Budget, but I've heard really good things. So it's a little probably more hands-on than Monarch, but maybe good if you need some more like accountability tracking stuff. But it's good if you want structure and discipline. It's a very powerful tool. Another tool, and one that I actually can share with you and we're going to go over today, would be spreadsheets. The benefit of spreadsheets is they're fully customizable, they're free, they're flexible. So if you have like weird money situations that you need to take care of, you can change it to what you would like. And it's great for visual thinkers. So if you like the control and simplicity or complication, if you're an Excel spreadsheet extraordinaire, you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want, and it's yours to make. Again, I will share one that I made. It's really quite simple, but if you just need something to start tracking, it's a good place to start. And then the last method that I'm going to suggest, depending on your personality, may or may not vibe, but it's the old school method of bringing out a notebook and just writing down your expenses. This can just force awareness, because every time you buy something, you have to write it down. That itself could discourage you from buying things you don't need. It really kind of helps slow down your spending, so you have to make actual decisions about it. Obviously, a notebook is not for everyone, but if the apps are overwhelming and you know you're not going to do them, just start with a pen and paper. Do it for a week and see what happens. The worst thing that's going to happen is you recycle a piece of paper and you move on with life. So those are 4 different options that you can test out and try for tracking and spending. And I just want you to know that it doesn't matter what system you use, the system that works is the one that you actually use. If you're not going to use the apps, don't do it. Try the paper. If you're not going to carry around a piece of paper, try an app. See if you can automate it and just check in on it every day or every week, just to start to kind of get a feel and make sure that it's actually accurately tracking. So I'm going to walk you through my quick tracker Excel sheet that I made. If you want a copy of this, I can absolutely get you one. Let me just put it on the screen here, and I'll do this kind of quick because we're running a little short on time. Okay. So this is like the budget tracker. You just have your monthly income. So let's say you make 4,000 a month from your job. You've got a little side hustle that you make $500 a month. Other income could be another side hustle or something. So it gives you your total income. Then you come over here and you put your expenses. Let's say you got a $1,500 a month rent, $100 for utilities, and etc. You can just go through here and it'll all add it up. And so here's your total monthly expenses. Here's what you have remaining. And then if you want to go crazy and do the daily tracking, you can do it here. Sorry. You just put in the dates, the categories, which are based off of the other budget tracker. So like, let's say you've got insurance, it'll kind of pop it up for you. You can take notes. And then as you're entering things, it'll start calculating what you're spending on these categories. So for example, you spent $35 on gas, your budget is 100, so you have 65 left. Groceries, etc. So it's really pretty simple, but it gives you something if you just need a visual. So that is there for you to use if you are interested in it. Just let me know and I'll make sure you get the tracker. But for this week's call to action, we just need to pick some sort of tracking device, start tracking where our money's going. We're just gonna fill it out honestly. We're not trying to change things or round the numbers. Don't try to impress yourself and say, hey, I'm so good at this. We're not here to judge it yet. We just want to look at it and see where our money is, because once we have the clarity, then we can make the adjustments. So if you need help with this or suggestions on programs, please just reach out. I'm happy to help. But I think finding out where our money is going is so important, so that way we can strategically plan on where we do actually want it to go to align with our goals. So next week, we're going to be talking about building a savings without suffering. So a little bit of a continuation on the money talk. Again, this isn't, money shouldn't be judged. It is what it is. It's a tool, and we just need to learn how to evaluate it and use it to our advantage. So don't feel pressured or like, I'm doing this so wrong. It's just something that, once you track it, you can actually start to manage it. So don't be afraid of money. It's a big step in the home buying process, but we don't have to make it so scary. We just need to be realistic and look at it with some clear eyes. So if you have any questions, please just let me know. Otherwise, I will plan to see you next week and we will talk about building savings without suffering. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.